Hi, thank you for joining us at another episode of Motivational Table. I am Neisa Wilhite.
Latanya Johnson.
Yes, and we are coming to you guys as sisters coming together to talk about divorce, life after. So,
Yeah.
I'll give a quick update on how we are connected. Latanya is my partner in Will to Give. She is our organization director. And also, she is the bonus mom to my children.
Right.
So, this topic is very dear to us, and we are honored to be able to share with everyone our journey.
Right. And how we came to be partners.
Yeah.
And co-moms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't get any better than this. So, Latanya is married to my ex-husband. Those of you know us, know who he is. And you guys have been married for
3 years.
3 years, but y'all been together for
6.
six. Yeah. So she's been in the picture for a while, and it's a wonderful, like, beautiful story. Like, my kids love her, I love her, my husband loves her.
Right.
You know, we just love.
It's mutual.
Yeah, we love the Johnson family, and so it's important as mothers. And I will go ahead and say it for some of you who don't understand, baby mamas. Gotta say it for everyone. Yeah. For baby mamas to understand, it is better to work together.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Put the kids first.
Yeah, you have to. So, how long were you divorced before you and Eric got married? How many years? And excuse us, we're just gonna get comfortable because that's what we do, you know.
Let me see.
Yeah.
How many years? It was probably, let me see, we're in 2019, 2013, like 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I had been divorced.
Yeah.
When I met Eric.
We were actually speaking earlier, you know, before we started this, and I was like, yeah, I didn't think I was ever gonna get married again. I was good.
I was like, I'm getting married again.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm glad I did, because the union that we have, like the husbands, the wives, the children, we just did a girls' trip.
We did. And it was fun.
It was fun until someone got hurt, you know?
Well, you know.
It's always that one.
Years, yeah.
We won't say who it was, but pretty much you guys know it was probably me. But we had a good time, and we're actually looking forward to
doing it again.
And I can't wait.
And we should say the girls' trip was us, the two of us.
Yes.
And then I have 2 daughters. The only one of my daughters could go. And then your daughters.
My 2 daughters, my sister, my niece, and then the kid's grandmother.
Yeah.
So on their dad's side. So she had shown up. So it was all of us ladies in a 2-bedroom condo.
Yeah.
And we didn't care.
It was plenty big.
Yeah. Oh, and we had granddaughter of my sisters and one of my younger cousins was with us. So it was fun. We had
a lot of fun.
We had a lot of fun. I had car issues, you know, but it didn't stop us.
Right.
Like, we played games and ate, talked, laughed, danced. Them darn
dancing.
Look, if you're over the age of 40,
you might want to stretch.
Before you try to have a dance off with this 18, 19-year-old.
Right.
Yeah, they want to show their stuff.
Yeah.
But on a serious note, so I was, you know, sharing, like, when Eric and I decided to divorce, it was weird because my parents went through a divorce. And when they went through their divorce, it was really, really ugly. Yeah. It was ugly. You know, we were made to feel like we needed to pick sides. You know, they were both hurt. They were both broken. And so it caused a lot of division and confusion with the family. And it was really hard. And so I just remember, you know, and plus, you know, Eric's parents had went through a divorce as well. Now they gave us an example on how to do it.
Okay.
You know, even though there was hurts and pains, we never knew.
Yeah.
And so when it came for this happening, you don't get married to say, oh, I'm going to get a divorce, even though, you know, you feel a certain way or whatnot. And so when it happened, I can't even take all credit for that. He didn't want it. We didn't want the kids to feel it.
Right.
And so we did everything we could to maintain solid ground, to maintain that, you know, the kids were good. We were already breaking up our home.
Right.
Isn't that enough?
Yeah.
You know? And I think we get caught up as mothers, as parents, we get caught up in our hurt.
Yeah, we do.
You know, and it is being like, what about me? I hurt too. I have feelings too. What about me? Everything's always the mom's fault. But we have to take ourselves out of some of the situations.
Yeah, that's true. I remember thinking, am I being selfish? Because it was all about me, because my needs weren't being met. And when I went to have that conversation with my ex to address those issues, he didn't want any part of it.
Yeah.
And so then at that point, for me, it's like, okay, well, do I just want to live out the rest of my life with this man who doesn't want to work on our issues? Or do I choose me and my happiness?
Yeah.
And because of how I grew up, I just always said, if I live to be an adult, I will be happy and I will have peace. And if I don't have those things, I gotta move around.
Yeah.
So that's how that came to be about for me.
You know, and when I say when it's not to be selfish, I've run across women that they don't want to be in a marriage anymore because they want to be happy. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, I got to clear that up. There's nothing wrong with being happy. Where the misery comes in is that you're still mad at the ex. So you're doing everything, keeping the kids from them or from him, you know, bad mouthing him, you know, to the children. When I talk about taking that self, that's the self that I want women to like really focus on. There is an end in sight when you decide to do a divorce.
Yeah.
And with that being said, wasn't that the solution to the problem? Sometimes?
Yeah.
How?
I think it depends on the situation and how you handle it.
Yeah.
So sometimes people get divorces, but they don't fully separate. They don't divorce.
Gotcha. Been there. Been there. You know, there was a long time though, like before relationships, we would spend our holidays together, even though we were separated, because that's what the kids were used to. I think it was because that's what we were. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't want to have to share my time, so I was willing to say, let's just do it all together. We all be together. So I get to keep the kids, you get the kids. We both get what we want, right?
Yeah.
And so we would do that. We would work that out for the betterment of. At that point, that was us.
Yeah. We did that.
Yeah.
That was important to
to
my girls, especially my younger one. I call her she's like the mom junior of the family, because she likes to keep everybody together, and she still tries to get us to have, you know, these big gatherings.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to give on some things, like if it's I have grandkids now.
Yeah.
And so if it's something to do with the grandkids, I expect all the grandparents to be there.
Yes.
You know,
and act and behave.
And and we're all civil to each other.
Yeah.
You know, so it's cool when we get together. But things that I'm not willing to share is like Christmas. Because I'm selfish.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to that, I love Christmas, and I just want it to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And so I want my Christmas.
Yeah.
My kids.
And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair.
Yeah.
And it should be like that. And it's all about communication. And a lot of times we don't communicate because we don't want to talk.
Right.
And another key thing is harboring feelings. Sometimes you don't address those unresolved underlying feelings, you know, or emotions that you have with that person. Like I use my husband's exes as a reason. Like there's underlying unresolved emotional feelings on their part that keeps them angry, hurt, and bitter to his life, him being happy, You know, even though he could pay all the child support on time in the world, he's still considered this horrible person when they left the marriage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking, if you left the marriage, at some point, there should be a time
Yeah.
frame
Yeah.
of when you can continue to just wish nothing but bad on someone. Like, I will never get that,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, I don't get that either. I mean, for me, I'm optimistic anyway. So I'm not gonna live in the negative. I'm always looking for the silver lining, which I know some people don't like, but it is what it is. That's who I am.
We
And
different.
That's right.
We
And
different.
so
Hey.
when I went through my divorce, because I knew that I wanted to get married again, and I knew that there were some things that I didn't do in the marriage or that I could have done better.
Yes.
Because I married when I was 20.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out who I am as a woman and who I am as a mom and who I am as a wife. That's a lot to figure out.
Yeah.
Right. And so when we got our divorce, one of the things that I did was I went through a divorce workshop.
That's awesome.
Because I wanted to make sure that I was whole for the next person.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to take baggage from one relationship to the next relationship.
Yeah.
And what I realized is that I had a lot of expectations for that man that I never should have had. Like I should have been talking to the Lord.
Yeah.
But everything that I put on him, the man, I should have been focused on God, and that was an issue. And I realized that was a lot of pressure that I put on him.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that sometimes people don't address those issues, and there's a lot of blame and hurt. And if you don't address them and get to the source of it, then the relationships can't heal.
Yeah.
And you can't have a healthy relationship going forward.
And it doesn't matter what relationship you get in.
Exactly. It doesn't help with the ex,
No.
and it doesn't help with your current relationship.
Yeah.
So,
It's an endless battle.
Yeah.
You know, I know for me, it was more about, I had been fighting all my life. I've been hurt all my life, and you know, you're raising a marriage or a family or household where there was fighting and chaos and all that going on, and then here I am faced with my own divorce, which that's not really something. I honestly thought I was gonna get married one time and I was gonna do it better than my parents.
Yeah.
I knew I had it all worked out. I had it all planned out. You know, I was not gonna be hurt about, you know, and what I realized was, there wasn't enough explaining of what marriage really was meant to be.
Yeah.
So you go into something and you don't know. And like you, I had to go through counseling. I dove into the church. My grandmother was a very strong praying woman, and you know, at that time of my divorce, she had already passed. So I didn't have her to reel me in or to tell me it was gonna be okay.
Right.
You know, I was kind of left, but she left me with all the strong ingredients.
Yeah.
So I turned and I did start to realize within myself, I was a horrible wife. I had no clue on how to be a wife.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, there's no manual, right?
Yeah, there's none.
Figure it out.
You figure it out. And we did go to premarital counseling before we got married. Eric and I did. And going to something and you're not, for me, I had already had defeat in my head.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
So when things was to come up, I didn't, even though I thought I was praying, I thought I was covering, I thought I was doing those things, the real underlying issue, honestly, was me.
Yeah.
I was too hurt and too broken, and I didn't have no business being anybody's wife.
Yeah.
And I shared that because so many women want to be married so bad, and they're carrying so much with them. And I'm like, you got to get yourself together.
Yeah.
You can't ask a man to come be your knight in shining armor, and you want him to be a provider, and you want him to be this, and he needs to be that, and he needs to drive this, and you have all these demands. But what are you bringing to the table?
Exactly.
What are you offering? Yeah.
Right.
And so don't be so quick to get married. And yes, men need to be men today. But women, we need to be women.
Yeah. You need to be whole.
Yeah.
And love yourself.
Yeah.
First, because other people can't love you if you can't love yourself.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So most of these girls are. I mean, and I see this, and it's really sad that they are looking. They want to be loved. And they want that family, they want that fairy tale. I mean, we all do. And I did at their age too. But, you know, the best part about being hurt and going through the pieces or the system of finding out who you are, finding that peace and happiness within, is that now I get to really direct my young girls as they start this life of finding love and being in relationships. And I really hope that, you know, I never give them any wrong advice,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And I do help them see they're spoiled. They are. They got it from, I didn't spoil them. And I had nothing to do with that. But, you know, they have an example of two strong, good men in their life.
They do.
You know, I mean, how lucky can you be to have two fathers that are men to you? They've shown you how a man is supposed to treat a woman. And so they have these high demands on these boys. And I always remind them, though, there's levels to this. You know, you can't jump and say, oh, I want this man to be up here. Y'all are still growing. Y'all are, he's where he needs to be at this level, as long as he's not, you know, being disrespectful or chasing women. But, you know, they're lucky that they're finding young men that want to serve God. They want to grow in Christ, you know? And so they're finding these young men that want to do that together, and they get to grow together. And I'm honored that they have us.
Yes, they have their dads and they have us.
Yeah.
And just in talking to your girls who are a little bit younger than my girls, I love the fact that, you know, they have standards. And their standards, they're high.
Yes.
But they're reasonable.
Yeah.
You know, when, you know, they come and they're like, no, this dude was talking to me in a certain way.
Yes.
Like, my dads don't talk to me like that. You're not going to talk to me like that. Like, I love that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what being a mom and a dad is. You know, we got to set standards for these kids and show them healthy relationships. And we should clarify, when we say healthy, we don't mean perfect by far. No, there are no perfect relationships.
There's no perfect relationships. And just a disclaimer, because, you know, I have to start laughing. Just a disclaimer. I love my husband, but all men require assistance. Period. You know, it's fair. You don't have to agree.
Funny.
Yeah, but you know, they do. They require assistance, but that's why God created a helpmate, and we should honor that.
Yes.
You know,
that just reminds me of, I love movies. And it reminded me of my Big Fat Greek Wedding, where the parents are talking, and the daughter wants to go to college to take a computer class. But in the Greek family, the women don't do things outside of the house. And the dad's like, no, she doesn't need to do that. And the mom's like, we're going to get you in this school. And she was like, she said, the men may be the head of the family, but the women are the neck. We control it. And that's what made me think of that. I was like, that is awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
You know, I had a conversation with one of my cousins, and she said something about she don't understand why God made men the head of the household. It should have been women. And it's a joke. And let me tell you, as Christians, we can joke and we can laugh. Okay,
that's right. We have a good time.
We have a good time. We always have fun. And so I was thinking that I have a thing that I have with Johnny. So I said, well, you know, I think men misinterpreted when God says a man should seek and find a wife, a man who find wives, or I said God was saying you need to find a wise, and they thought God said wife. And our real terminology and name should be wise. We're not wives. We are wise. Wise. Yeah. So I call him husband. He calls me wise.
There you go.
Yeah, it works. It works, right? Right, it works. But and that's how you keep your marriage going. Even when they want, you want to punch them right here, third punch, yeah. You manage to find ways to laugh,
You have to, otherwise you won't survive.
You won't.
Yeah.
You have to laugh with each other. You have
each other.
At
yourself.
At yourself.
Yeah.
And the only way you can get to that place is finding that peace and digging up the root that's caused the hurt, the pain, the insecurities, the trust issues, all of that, because society has put so much on us, our families have put so much on us, we have put so much on ourselves that sometimes it's hard to laugh or hard to smile. And once you find that smile and that reason to,
it's everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's a journey. It's not always there, especially if we're talking about divorce. Like right after the divorce, there's going to be some sad times.
Oh yeah.
And you're not going to like that person, and they're not going to like you. But you work through it.
Yeah.
For your own sanity and for the sake of your kids.
Yeah.
And it'll be okay.
It'll be okay.
It'll be all right.
Especially when children are involved.
Yeah.
So many children are getting their lives taken by the hands of the people that brought them into this world, and because of hurt, and there's not enough support system. And I have a story that, and this didn't happen to me, but I will share someone else's story that had thought their family was going to be able to support, like help with the support. And when I say support, I'm not talking about financially. There's more to support than finances as well. And so listening to her mother and her father, she ended this marriage, and it should have been ended. The guy was abusive. And, they made all these promises, and, you can move home, and, we'll help you, and blah, 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 blah. We got the kids. Well, she gets there, she moves out of state to move where her parents are, because, when you go through a divorce, sometimes you just need a place where you can get away.
Yeah, that's true.
And sometimes distance, and you don't have to see that person, it helps with the healing process. But when you have children, it's a constant, it hurt, yeah. And so she did, and they ended up, like, turning on her, like tried to take the kid from her, deemed her as unfit because she was going through an emotional time.
Right.
And I felt so bad because the person she was before the divorce, you would never say she was unfit.
Right.
But sometimes people do go through some things. They hurt. And we have to be, I guess, slower to judge them or try to place them in a box of being unfit. Reach out and really, truly try to help them. And maybe we'll have less people wanting to take their children's life.
Yeah.
Because when you hurt someone, the last thing they want is you to have control or have their children.
Right.
Because if you hurt them, you will hurt their children. And you can say that you won't do it, but you will. Whether it's a name call, if it's an overlook, if you do not like the parent and you are trying to deem the parent bad, there's a possibility you will hurt that child.
Yeah. Well, you probably are hurting the child because, you're talking bad and saying things about their mom or their dad.
Yeah.
So kids are going to be affected by that.
Yeah. And we have to be really careful. Divorce is hard, and they don't need anyone else adding to that hurt and that struggle that they're already faced with. And we're lucky, both of us, that we get along great, or we can get along with our exes for the development and the betterment of our families.
Yeah. For me, that was a conversation that my ex and I had. When we were going through the divorce process. It's like, what are the priorities? And the priorities are always going to be the kids.
Yeah.
Even though, at that time they were teenagers. But, they're our kids for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And we have to put them first. And if you put the kids first and don't worry about your own issues, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. It makes it easier on everyone. The children can't play that mom and pa back and forth, And I always say that, you know, I don't have that type of relationship with my husband's exes. But I do serve a wonderful, amazing God. And I make sure I cover them in prayer every day. I do. That they will see, you know, that their emotional connection still is only hurting the children or has hurt the child. And I just pray that nothing that root of where I belong or my father didn't love me, my father's a horrible man, never takes root in any of their lives.
Yeah.
Because it's only been said by someone who's still living in their hurt. You know, and I had just said to my husband the other day, and I said, I really wish, like, it's not I know I won't have what I have with them the way we have.
Right.
It's impossible. But maybe someone who is really wanting to work for the kingdom, I pray they will cross their steps, their pathways, to help them resolve that hurt and that bitterness, to see that the children deserves both parents. If the parent is not abusive, okay, if the parent is not, you know, any addictions that could cause the child harm, you're only keeping that child away because you can't have the father, then there's a problem. That's the only problem that I'm like, yeah, that child deserves to have a relationship with the other parent.
Yeah, I don't believe in making the kids suffer because the marriage didn't work.
Yeah.
I think it's two separate things. You have parenting, and then you have a marriage between, you know, whoever, your partners.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't work out, it doesn't necessarily mean that the parenting piece is broken.
Right.
So, I mean, just, it breaks my
How
heart.
can you love a child and hate the parent?
You know, people do.
Do they really?
I can't answer that question because I don't know. I've experienced it
Right.
as the child in
Yeah.
the situation.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to answer that because I just don't. It resonates with me as a child, but not as an adult.
Parent. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I still have that question because I can't. The love that I have for my children will not allow me to abuse them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I see that. Yeah. And I can feel that because, you know, I wasn't. My son has a whole different father. You know, and all right. So that's going to be all for us today. Talking about divorces and life and just chit chatting, just doing normal talk.
Yeah.
And we do this as a way of, that's how easy you can start a conversation and resolve every conflict in your life. Just have a conversation with someone.
And I just want to say, as we're parting, divorce is such a negative word, you know, but there could be good. There is life after divorce.
Yeah,
you know,
there
I mean,
is.
if you need to do that for your sanity or your health or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
If you're
okay.
going to divorce, you need to make
Yes.
sure it's a good one.
It's a good one. Find some support.
Support.
That is so important.
Yes.
Yeah. Find people who will support you.
And once again, you'll get to see a lot of me and LT do our thing. We have a lot of topics coming for you guys. We got a lot of things coming up for 2020. So follow us on our website at willtogivehim.org. If you feel the need and want to donate to our organization, all funds will be used to help the needs of people in the communities and in the rural areas. And until next time.
Ta-ta. Bye.